Good morning. This video, the purpose of this is to describe how to make a new cutwater for Riva Ariston. And unfortunately my original cutwater had been cut off due to a previous restoration, so I only had half a pattern. I was able to get another pattern, a full-length pattern from another Ariston, and at that point I was able then to actually make a paper pattern that fit my hull exactly, the contour of the stem, so that everything would made up just right. And in looking at this original cutwater is made of brass, and it is .050 thick, which I was able to easily find a sheet of brass online for purchase. And so what we're going to do this morning is just describe how I am cutting these out. So now that I have my paper pattern established to the exact size of the hull, and I did make a port and a starboard because the two aren't exactly correct. You know, there's just a little bit of variation to get the arc to fit the stem. So I have two different patterns, one for the port, one for the starboard. And I was able to get this sheet of brass, a 12 by 48 inch sheet of brass online. Again, it's 050 thick. And first thing I did was just simply take my patterns and take a marker and lay the patterns down on the brass sheet and trace around them with a black marker. And then it gives me the exact pattern to cut out. Now, you always want to leave yourself a little bit on the outside of the line because it's much easier to take it off. You can't add it back on there if you accidentally cut it too small. Now, as far as for cutting purposes today, using a DeWalt jigsaw, and when cutting metal you want to slow the speed quite a bit down. You want to be a lower speed. Also, I have the progressive cut on 0, which means the blade just goes straight up and down rather than like this. So you want to have that on a progressive on a 0. There's no need to have the blade jump. It just needs to go straight up and down, gives you a very controlled cut. On the blades, I'm using a metal cutting blade with a very, very fine cut. So you want to have about 24 teeth per inch on these types of blades. And this is a particular, this is a Bosch T118A blade, which seems to just cut this brass like butter at a very slow speed. So it's very controllable. I can easily go around these arcs and produce a very nice cut that comes out basic like that. So I have my first piece cut out, and what I can do then is come back with a sander and some heavy grit paper and just really kind of smooth any bumps or ripples that the jigsaw produced and get myself a nice smooth edge on that. The next operation that I'll do is that I will experiment with getting the holes correct, which I have my holes in my paper pattern, and I'll be able to lay that onto the brass and then drill a very fine pilot hole and then use a bit, the right size and angle of bit, to get the countersink for the screws that I'm using. At that point, be able to kind of clean the whole thing up and kind of prep it out with fine paper for polishing and plating. Hope that helps. Anybody who's wanting to work with metal, I'm not really a very experienced metal worker at all, but I figured I could tackle brass because it's so soft. It's really an easy metal to work with and not too terribly expensive. If this were stainless steel, this would be a much more difficult thing to deal with or to cut. But since it's brass and it gets plated, it's pretty easy to handle. Hope that helps.